WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station.
Are you interested in advertising or sales? Looking to make some extra cash? WHIP could use you as a member of their sales team. We're looking for motivated individuals interested in starting and growing advertising relationships for the station. Contact General Manager Ed LaFerge at 732-600-6552 for more information.
Who's number one?
We are. So keep it locked to Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP.
It's one of my all-time favorites.
Now, on Philadelphia's #1 college radio station, WHIP, Rational Radio.
WHIP Rational Radio on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. We're here today with myself, Nathan Weaver, Noah Clay by my side, and Ryan Frischella over here running the boards.
Sounded like you were going to call me Ralph.
Ralph Frischella today.
I was going to say that is just not correct.
That's not your name. But what? We're starting out with a little bit of L&I, the licenses and inspection.
Oh, there you go. You got it.
I got it.
Nice work.
I got it today.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is what we're starting out with today. So, probably, I would say, the most scrutinized organization here in the city of Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody's always going after L&I, right? Because it seems like every time something happens, it could be traced back to something that they didn't do, right? So, this is now in... talking about an article that was in the Inquirer today. Mayor Nutter is launching an investigation of L&I, the Department of Licenses and Inspections here in Philadelphia. And so this comes after a report, according to this article in the Sunday version of the Inquirer, where it was documented that L&I failed to properly inspect more than 80% of private demolitions over the last 9 months. 80%. So that's we're talking, that's like a lot. And so it says that there was a new rule passed in the city of Philadelphia that requires an inspection after every floor of a multi-story building is being demolished. And so Mayor Nutter is quoted as saying this is tremendously troubling, and we must get to the bottom of it to find out whether or not inspections were conducted. So basically, in 2013, there was a building collapse in Center City of a Salvation Army, and the thrift store just collapsed and ended up killing some people there, and it was deemed to be not being demolished properly. So in the wake of that, there were new regulations that were passed to make sure the buildings are being demolished properly. And so L&I is then forced to inspect or oversee these demolitions. And so basically now we are looking at something where they were not doing their job, a pretty serious job at that.
So what you're saying in the last, year, 80% of the buildings that were built or renovated were not inspected properly?
Yeah. Demolitions over the last 9 months.
Okay, so demolitions were not inspected
so almost
properly.
a full year. But demolitions and inspecting them to make sure that the demolition was working through properly.
I mean, we have a building that was just demolished on campus now, so
right.
That's pretty scary. And it's been going on for the last 3 years that we've had a lot of buildings go up. We've had Morgan Hall go up recently.
Sure.
We have this new library going up recently. We have all kinds of construction that's going on campus, and if they're not, not only for families in the surrounding area, but us right here, this is an issue. We are directly affected by this, so it's a huge topic.
Yeah, I mean, just think if because since Temple is in Philadelphia, they do need to they need to follow these rules, right? So we look at Barton Hall. Who knows? What if that wasn't demolished properly?
No, what's the type of ramifications if it wasn't?
I assume
properly?
probably some fines. It doesn't go into it in this article, but I assume maybe some fines for the company who's doing the construction. But
is there any sort of damage done to the actual base's ground that it's laid on? That's what I would be concerned with. So maybe the soil's tainted in some sort of way, which makes it uneven or not able to hold land anymore.
Right.
Not able to hold-
you're
not
talking
able to
about
hold
like a
building
full
anymore.
like site inspection.
Yeah.
Like if they didn't quite rip out the foundation right or something, and it
Yeah.
got all unsettled, and there's a big air pocket down there that they wouldn't know about. 'Cause
Yeah.
they didn't inspect it properly.
That's what I would be more worried
That'd be
about,
very
other than
scary.
just having fees and stuff of the not being demolished properly, but the possible safety of others.
Yeah, there's gotta
the
be.
near to long-term future.
There's got to be huge issues that can go along with this. Otherwise, they wouldn't have these regulations.
Right.
Other than just fines and obviously, like, people could get hurt. Like, you're taking down a whole building. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have walked past,
Right.
walked down Leocoris, but the whole thing's coming down real easy. So
Yeah, and you're so close. You're literally getting hit by the sprinklers that they're spraying onto.
Right.
You're
So
getting
that's-
wet as you walk.
Right.
past
So
it.
that's the thing. Like, I mean, first of all, I feel like they should have demolished that building over the summer.
Yeah, sometime when
I
you
agree.
know,
Like when there
it's not
aren't
very
like like
populated.
kids walking down two sides, four sides, I guess. That
it's
because it's a
surrounded.
whole block.
It's
yeah.
surrounded.
Because there was always dust flying everywhere, and like I'd be walking by, and the dust would be in my eyes and
Yeah.
everything, and like I mean they're spraying the water, but I mean there's still dust that's like escaping it, right? Because the water's supposed to like grab the dust and like
that what it is?
prevent it from clouding up the whole area. I don't know. I just think it was. First of all, why did it take them also like a week to demolish the first half of it, and then the last little bit has been going on for like 2.5 weeks?
yeah, I was very surprised with how quickly it went down, or part of it went down. They just went in there with that eating machine, the thing with the giant jaws on it, and just took it right down.
Yeah, they just started going after that thing.
It was pretty impressive, actually.
But I mean, now if we look at this, I mean, every so often here in Philadelphia, you'll hear about a home that collapsed or an old building that collapsed, because there are a lot of old buildings here in the city of Philadelphia. And to think that, if this could be prevented, right? Like if we could do inspections of these properties, if they create like a database, right? And they say, okay, here are all these really old properties, within the next 4 months, we're going to make a priority to inspect all of them, right? Not because they're being demolished, just to make sure that they're safe, right? Because I mean, if you have a house that was built in like the early 1900s, I mean, there's like a lot. I mean, we're talking that's 115 years later.
A lot
Right.
goes down in that time.
Yeah.
And a lot of the buildings at that point were probably built with wood, and
Yeah.
you get water damage, you get termites, you get all sorts of rottage with it.
Right.
It's it's not safe.
So that's why I'm saying, like, we should. Why don't we do like an inspection thing on the old buildings? Because I mean, when you have a row home set up, if one collapses, like one in the middle collapses, it could take out part of one next to it.
Right.
And if that house isn't really that secure, then it's like a domino effect right here.
The whole thing goes down. The whole complex goes down.
Yeah.
Same thing with fires. If it's all dried out and it's
Right.
it's not properly insulated or sealed, if one lights up, the whole block goes down. So it's scary
Absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah, so Jim Kenney, who's running for mayor, said that he would replace the L&I commissioner Carlton Williams, and he would put someone he thought would do a better job. But this organization really taking some heat. They're also, interestingly enough, the ones who oversee all of the food trucks.
Huh.
So we saw a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, there was the debate about moving all of the food trucks, right? Relocating them to one location on
So that
campus.
would be like a food truck row almost.
Basically,
Okay.
yeah. And so that was all done by like L&I saying that this, like, they were the ones who were giving the reasons. I don't remember what the reasons were to move the food trucks. And basically, they say that the food trucks are like a standalone business. So that's why apparently they don't take diamond dollars.
That makes sense.
I think I kind of figured that out. They're not really in with the school. They're not-
exactly. Yeah,
they might
they're
have
like their own thing.
Yeah, they might have a permit through the school in order to park there, but other than that, they're their own business.
Yeah. So I mean, it's hopefully something gets done with this, because we don't want to see any more building collapses. But I just looking online, I mean, one of the first things that comes up when you type in L&I is tips on getting your L&I complaints heard.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
It's not very good PR.
That's
No.
No.
And I mean, like I said, they are always in the news about something, about their failure to do something. Here's an article from back in September. This is on 6abc.com, and basically the title of the article is Philadelphia Department of Licenses and Inspections accused of jeopardizing public safety.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so you're reading, you're like, okay, well, what is this? And basically that there was an investigation done by the city controller, Alan Butkovitz, and he said that hundreds of dangerous homes across the city are one brick away from crumbling to the ground.
Like one falls down, they all fall down.
Right.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
So then this goes on to say that along with illegal demolitions, his office found 1,900 inspections were conducted by inspectors without proper certification.
Wow.
Yeah, almost 2,000 inspections. These people aren't even qualified to do the inspections. They're like, oh yeah, it looks good.
How many inspections did they do? What percentage is that?
I don't know. It doesn't say how many total inspections were done.
I feel
But
like
still, 2,000 is not a
2,000
small number.
No. I mean, because then this says to me that they're actually doing the inspections.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so this is like, oh yeah, no, we inspected that, but we're not going to tell you that the person like wasn't qualified to inspect it.
How hard is it to get these people
right?
To get these people qualified? It has to be
first of all, where are they finding these people that are not qualified? Like, are they like say, hey, we got a job for you. You don't have to be a qualified engineer to look at this, but
take a clipboard, walk in a building, check off some stuff, and walk out.
And then they can put a sticker on the door that says inspected.
Hey, I'd like to get paid for that.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
Who wouldn't? That would be a pretty good job.
Here's a clipboard, go check off the box that says this house is safe and we'll pay you for it. I'm like, oh, well, I don't really know anything about it. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. As long as it looks okay.
Yeah.
If it's got a nice outside,
if it hasn't fallen down already, then it's good.
If it's got one support beam just right in the middle of the house, congratulations, you're safe.
I don't understand that.
To me. That's unreal.
How does that happen? It's a government agency. It's not like it's like a private, like firm, right? Mm-hmm. This is like something that, I mean, is part of like the city of Philadelphia. It's not like some private company. Why is this,
I mean, I think it has a lot to do with the budget that we keep talking about. They can't figure out the school system. They can't figure out how
Well, this is pretty sad. They can't pay people to inspect who even have the proper qualifications.
I guess so. It's ridiculous to me.
And we don't even know how many people this was.
What do you mean?
Like, what if this could have been like 5 people? Over the course of like a year, they did 2,000 inspections. I mean, it's probably more than that because that's a lot of inspections, but
it's possible. It's possible.
I mean, so this could, maybe we'll give them the benefit of the doubt that this could be.
It's only a couple
people. But nonetheless, why should anybody be working for them?
A couple of people still equals 2,000 inspections. Like that total number of actual inspections that was not done the right way is the same, regardless of how many people did it. And we don't even know how many employees they have. Maybe these 5 people are the only employees they have. Maybe none of them are certified.
One brick away from crumbling to the ground.
That's just a scary thought.
1,900 inspections. One brick away from crumbling to the ground. And then, like we said earlier, they could take out the whole couple houses next to them.
Yeah, all the force from anything falling over.
Right.
And not only that, if it's falling over itself, what about the safety of the people like out on the streets?
Yeah. What about the people inside?
With the people
inside, you don't know when you're like, okay, well, this house is unsafe. I don't know when it could fall down. At any moment, I could be in here and it just crumbles.
Wow.
Wow. And you're like, I mean, and if you live in Philadelphia, right, and you're paying taxes to the city, you'd hope that they would be using it for something good. Like if my house is in danger, like it's their job to be able to like look into this, right? If there's a department that's inspecting old houses, I mean, then
we're not qualified to tell if our house is actually. But apparently neither are they.
Apparently not.
Neither are they.
Which is just so strange.
Scary stuff.
Yeah.
And it baffles me it took 9 months for us to figure it out.
This was back in September.
So now it's October. It's 10, close to 11 months.
Yeah.
It's basically a year.
It is basically a year. And now this new report, coming out yesterday, on the Inquirer on Philly.com, and saying that, they may have not even inspected 80%. Failed to properly inspect more than 80% of private demolitions over the last 9 months. This is private demolition. This isn't even like corporate.
All right, but if you think about it, though, on one hand, yes, that is a huge amount. 80%. Of course, they did something wrong. But private demolition could just be some guy in his backyard with a hacksaw taking down his garage. There's a lot of stuff that does go on like that.
And also, this could be, there were 10 private demolitions and 8 of the 10.
Right.
So they don't give actual numbers.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Which, whatever.
Fine.
But hey, we have actual numbers on the other thing, 1,900.
1,900. Yeah, and
and we don't know how many people there were inspecting them. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They should get on that. Whoever the next mayor is, they have to look into that, because we don't want any more buildings crumbling down here in Philadelphia. So we're going to take a quick break here, but make sure to stay tuned on Rational Radio on WHIP Radio, Philly's #1 college radio station. If you want to call into the show, the number is 215-204-9447. We would love to hear from you. Get your take on what we are talking about today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
From the WHIP News Team, I'm Dalton Balthaser, and it's time for your news right now. An earthquake has devastated Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India. A magnitude 7.5 earthquake hit northeastern Afghanistan Monday, killing more than 150 people, as well as destroying at least 1,400 buildings. The victims included 12 girls who died while trying to flee their school in Afghanistan, with some of them being crushed in a stampede. The quake came a few days after rain hit the area hard, making certain areas vulnerable. Another high school football player has died after suffering injuries during a game. Andre Smith of Illinois died from blunt force head injuries due to a football accident, according to Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. He hit his head on the final play of the game and walked off of the field before collapsing later. According to the Illinois High School Association, Smith was the 7th high school football player to die this year nationwide. Temple University is considering the idea for an on-campus football stadium. At the next Board of Trustees meeting on December 8th, the board will be presented with a proposal of a $100 million, 35,000-seat stadium to be constructed next to McGonigal Hall, where a parking lot and part of Giese Field are currently located. For breaking news, follow us on Twitter at WHIP Radio and check out WHIPRadioTU.com. We'll see you in an hour with your news update.
What is that?
Oh, it's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs, cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money, always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
There's hundreds of fun and simple things you and your family can do to live a healthier lifestyle. Here's 20 of them. Eat less, eat slower, eat smarter, eat your fruits and veggies. Stop eating before you're full. Up your fiber, lower your calories, get off the bus early, do some gardening, do jumping jacks, take the stairs, take one, not two, take on a new sport, take a long walk home, walk instead of drive, bend, stretch, reach for the stars, climb the monkey bars, skip the fudge bars. Search We Can online to find more ways you and your family can get healthy together. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I'm 19 years old, and this is how I live united. I've always been kind of a computer geek, and I found a way to use those skills to help the homeless in my community. For people facing hard times, computer skills and a basic resume are so important. It may seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So with United Way, I created a program where I work with the homeless. Together, we go through their whole job history, write a resume, and then save it on their very own USB drive. We provide workbooks and training certificates. I even budgeted for cupcakes so we can celebrate as a class when one of our people gets a job. That's huge. When somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." That's what Living United feels like to me. My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Hey, is that a faucet running?
Nope, that's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest.
It is?
Yeah, forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink. The water comes straight from the forest to us. In fact...
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
How do trees clean the air?
They soak up the dirty air on their leaves, branches, and trunks, which means clean air for us.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yep, but the forest does more than give us clean air and water. It gives us shade for hot days, birds to listen to, and trees to climb.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know how cool the forest could be. Hey, let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
WHIP, Philadelphia's #1 college radio station. You're listening to Rational Radio on this Tuesday afternoon. You're here with Ryan Frischella, Noah Clay, and myself, Nate Weaver. What do we got going on, Ryan?
So, just keeping with the trend here of talking about schools in Philadelphia, we are talking once again about how the schools in Philadelphia have no money and why their plans for the future may not actually be feasible. So, with that, we're supposed to have a guest on today, but looks like, I don't know if she'll be coming on. She hasn't called in yet, so, we'll just go ahead with this discussion on our own. This. Because, we're ready to rock this. So, basically, here's what I would like to cover, and that is that basically this article was written in the Inquirer last Wednesday, okay? And it was written by a lady who's a retired Philadelphia teacher and co-founder of the Alliance for Philadelphia Public Schools, okay? And so this is someone who has been inside the school district, and she has seen, what the school district of Philadelphia is, what it's all about, because it's easy for us to sit here, right, and kind of deconstruct what we see from the outside and say, this school is terrible. They can't even put books on the desks, and they can't even provide their kids with the basic necessities to function in school. We have classes of 80 kids. What is going on here? Why can't they get it figured out? It's easy for us to say that sitting here. But in this article, she dives into kind of the nuts and bolts of the education system here in Philadelphia, and she says that she taught at Roosevelt Middle School in East Germantown, which was one of the schools at the bottom of the list of the PSSA reading proficiency scores this year.
So one of them that wasn't getting as much state funding.
Correct.
Basically.
Well, and in theory should be getting more state funding because they're at the bottom.
Right, in order to create that academic.
Right.
And give them that opportunity to...
Because ultimately they're the ones that need it.
Right.
The ones at the bottom. So get this. Math proficiency scores are 0.3%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
the reading is where? Also at the bottom?
She does not go on to say what the reading is, but she just talks about the math proficiency scores. 0.3%. And so she says she taught here for 4 years in the 90s and says that it wasn't a bad school at that time. And now she's talking about how Superintendent William Haidt, he wants to reform 15 schools in the city of Philadelphia in the school district, and that will cost the school district $15 to $20 million. Where are they getting this money from?
They don't have this money.
We don't have a budget.
They don't have $20 million to spend on school reform.
Not even close. They don't have this money. They have no plan on how to figure out how to find this money. They have no way of getting this money.
Right. They
This
are
money doesn't
borrowing
exist.
money to pay their bills.
This money does not exist.
And $20 million isn't, a couple of bake sale fundraisers.
No.
No.
This is they are in a hole, and they borrowed more money, and now they are in a deeper hole.
Right.
And now they can't pay their teachers, so they are now borrowing this money, and they are staying in this hole. And now if they want to reform these schools, they're just going to dig themselves deeper into the hole. They're not going in the right direction. They need to be going up. They're going down.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and like this, the article goes on to talk about how they would reform these schools, right? The process for it, and so one of the things that is suggested is that they will be put into the Renaissance Network. Basically, it's according to this article, it says it's the administration's way of giving up on a school it has done little to improve and kicking it to the curb for a private company to pick up.
Aggressive
What
wording.
is that? Come on. You're done with a school? Really?
Well, you could look at it as if they are done with the school. Like they are kicking it to the curb. But you can also say that they're trying to give it another chance because they don't have the money to fund it. So they're trying to find somebody who is willing to provide the money to fund it. Even if they do, maybe they make a little bit of profit off it. I don't know how you'd make a profit off of a school that much. But it's giving them almost another chance in order to improve themselves, to create a better environment for the students that actually go to the school, instead of being stuck in that $20 million debt that they could possibly go into. You know what I mean?
Kick it to the curb for a private company to pick up. That's
in stressful times. You got to do some stuff.
I know, but I mean, this is basically they're saying, well, man, we tried with this school, but they really just couldn't pick it up. We're done with them.
It's ridiculous. It's unreal.
I mean, I see where you're coming from, that it could be a positive.
I'm not saying it's a positive exactly, but I think it's giving them a better chance to actually make it.
So here's another perspective, right? There are some people that would argue, we're talking about this actually in one of my classes, and we are talking about the benefits to having a society controlled by the free market,
right?
Just the free market alone, right? So we're looking at a lot of teachings and research done by Milton Friedman, the economist from the University of Chicago, and basically he would say that in this, right, if the free market was governing this school the way the school is set up right now, people would have a choice, right? It's because his thing is all about choice. They could choose where they wanted to go to school in Philadelphia. They could choose the best high school in Philadelphia to go to. And if they went ahead with this, right, and gave it to a private company, that the school would actually turn out better than if it were under the control of the school district, right? Because the private company, they hire their own teachers, right? Mm-hmm. And if a teacher this is all privatized, right? This is no public unions or anything. So if a teacher performs poorly, they can fire them right there, right? They treat it like a business as opposed to like a government entity, right? So it's no teacher tenure and no union protections, right? If a teacher's teaching a class and everybody in that class is failing, teacher's done, and someone's right there, they hire someone to take the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then you get the teachers who decide to, all the tests are on a curve now because not everyone's getting 70%. So why not give everyone 100%? So the teachers will find, the bad teachers will find ways around it.
You could argue for that, but then you also have the other side where you have those kids that are competing for. We had a situation with this last year in my school. Kids that are competing for the top in their class, they will go and be so competitive that they will go into almost the grade books and see, like, make sure everything's running the same way in order for it to be a fair shake. So last year, one of our grades got put in accidentally as like a 10 out of 5. Somebody caught it in a different class. Like
10 out of 5. Wow, I would love that.
So it was about but it was on a homework assignment. So it was really only worth about 2%, maybe, of your grade. But another person from another class heard about it, went to the principal. After the grades were finalized for the marking period, they were reverted and changed.
Jeez.
Wow.
Our whole GPA was changed because of it. But that's yes, some of the teachers will try and find it, but there will also be those checks and balances in it. In any school district, especially, well, this is a middle school, right?
Yes, this is Roosevelt Middle School.
So maybe not so much in the middle school, but if a high school gets privatized, they monitor that stuff like crazy.
Yeah, so it said one of the other things is that some of the schools will have several grades added at once, and that she says changes its mission and climate overnight. And then she goes on to say that contrary to promises made by Dr. Height at public meetings, 2 schools will be closed permanently, and that enrollment and class size in nearby schools will almost certainly increase.
Okay, so they close a couple schools, and then they overpack the other ones.
Right.
And then these teachers, who we have talked about don't have substitutes, now have to plan for bigger classes, but at the same time can't plan for bigger classes because they're constantly being pulled into other classes to substitute teach for them. But they're not actually teaching because they don't have time to actually teach, so they wheel in the TV and show a movie. So, like, this, I feel like every time we come on this show, there's another piece added to this giant circle of sadness. Just this big circle of uneducation.
I know.
If that's a word.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. I mean, like, look at the state of it right now. I mean, they're just going to be like, oh man, these schools, wow, we've had enough of them. Hopefully someone picks them up. If not, they're done.
And the worst part about it is even if they wanted to, which I would like to think that they do want to fix this.
Yeah.
They can't. They don't have the money to. They don't have $20,000 sitting around that they can just throw at it.
Yeah.
They don't have the money to fix it. So they've made their bed, now they have to sleep in it. And it's unfortunate, and I don't know how they're going to figure it out.
Yeah, so basically the article goes on to talk about how Dr. Height is really touting reading and math proficiency scores, which are hovering now around 30%, as his justification for placing more schools into this Renaissance program, right? But then the author, Lisa Haver, points out that the latest PSSA scores show that none of the 21 current elementary or middle Renaissance schools achieved a math score over 20%. And only 8 went above 30% in reading.
So you said the Renaissance ones are the ones that are picked up by the private companies?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And basically, there was this one high school that she references, and it was placed in the Renaissance program in 2011 and is now among the lowest in the state at Auden Reed High School. And, you know, I don't know how you can justify this at this current state.
Right.
First of all, there is so much that he is trying to do in Philadelphia all at once, right? I feel like we need to make a list here, right? Like, let's step back and make like a checklist or something.
Or a budget.
Oh, well, you know,
That's a different
that would be too easy. That would make too much sense if they did that. Take a step back and say, you know, all right, what's the most important here? Obviously, funding. That's got to be at the top, right? Say, okay, we're going to tackle this first. All right, well, they don't have a budget, so we got to wait on that. Okay, what's number 2? Substitutes in the classroom. All right, let's go. Full court press. We got to get these classrooms filled. Can't have teachers teaching 80 students in a room. And then maybe go on to some of these things later down the list. You know?
Yep. It's crazy. I hope the mayor candidates are listening in. I hope Marissa and Jim are tuning in right now.
Oh, you know him personally?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Melissa and Jim.
Melissa, I misspoke. Yeah. I hope they're listening in, because then our wonderful ideas of this show could help.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Maybe we'll try and reach out to them, see if they want to come on the show, and see what they think about this Renaissance program. Because then this is discussion now because people are talking about charter schools. Then you talk about what's better, a charter school or a Renaissance school.
Right.
School possibly run by a private company, or kids can choose where they want to go to school. See, I think that presents a problem if you give free choice in Philadelphia, right? You can say, all right, go to whatever school you want, wherever you live. The only thing is you just have to figure out a way to get there, right?
And then you're going to figure there's going to be huge issues with some schools are huge, some schools are tiny.
Exactly.
Well,
so,
I think with charter schools, they even have a cap.
Yeah, some of them do.
They have a cap, so they're not going to be all going to be huge. You're going to have to spread them. They're going to have to all be spread out.
Right.
Yeah, but then you get kids in a school that they didn't want to be at.
Yeah.
Then you get kids whose first choice was this school, but now have to go to this school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's another thing, right? And that's where you have 30 kids from one neighborhood that go all over the city to go to school, right? And then all of a sudden now you have one neighborhood school that's empty.
Yeah.
Right? Well, now you have empty property for the school district. What are they going to do with it? Now they're losing money on it, right? Because they have to keep it open.
Right.
And then if they consolidate it, then you force everybody else elsewhere, and I don't know. It's a tough thing coming up with solutions, but
every time
we're always talking about it.
every time we're on the air, we're talking about the school system.
Yeah, and it's never the same thing.
It's always
it's
a
all
new
based
problem.
about money, but it's like it's shifting.
Oh, now we don't have enough money for this. Now we're going to spend $20 million on this, but.
Right.
Don't really have
They just want to keep spending and spending and spending. Like the money's like, oh, here, I'll grab it off the trees. Oh, wait, we don't actually have that money. It doesn't matter. We'll borrow it. 540. It's only a number. But no, something needs to be done. Or eventually they're going to get to a point where they will not be able to take on any more debt.
Mm-hmm.
They will not be able to function.
That is true.
Because I'm surprised they're able to function now.
Well,
They're not. They're barely
not
able to function.
Really, they're not able to function.
I think they've almost hit that. I think they've basically hit that point.
Yeah. Because there's going to be a point where it's we can't pay for any of this stuff. What's going to happen? The whole school district shuts down?
I hope not.
It's
a bad thing to think about.
When you're just running on debt every time, then it becomes
how's that possible? Where would everybody go?
Right. Well, if you run on debt the whole time, then you become just like the federal government.
Yeah.
And they're working on trying to pay down the interest on the national debt. They're like, yo, this number is so big, we're just going to do the interest. Because that's manageable.
And go from there.
So we're just going to let this debt sit here, but we'll work on the interest. So, I don't know. Something, hopefully, to keep our eyes on as we go forward. We'll see what happens with this. I think it's an interesting article. Kicking curbs to the school that you're done with.
Yep.
I don't know. Doesn't seem right. So, if you want to call in, let us know your opinion. 215-204-9447. You're listening to Rational Radio right here on WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station. We'll be right back.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live United. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusi. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
People are always talking about the stock market. Always looking to invest in a good opportunity. Something with the potential to grow. So what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids. Like a stock. Not the kind of stock where you invest to make money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps students like me go to college, which ends up making the future better for everybody. I could be the first college graduate in my family, the first district attorney from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there will be a second and a third. This can really be the start of something. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
You are not going to.
Then what you're going
to
to do is turn onto Marcy
and Brett
Avenue.
just broke up
and go past the first 3
she's
lights
happy
and then
about
take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
then drive
think
5
she's
more
happy,
blocks
but
and you should be
who
there.
am I to judge, right?
Park on the
Anyway,
right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm so glad we left that stupid party.
No joke.
Hey, baby, are you an overdue library book? Because you got fine written all over you.
Ugh,
barf.
What about that girl with the hoop earrings?
Ridiculous. When she was dancing...
Megan, look out! Look out!
Oh my God, Becky. Becky, are you okay? My arm. I think it's broken. Can you bend it? It's already bent. In the wrong direction. I can't believe this. I'm so sorry. I only had a few drinks. I was just buzzed.
Really? Just buzzed?
Yeah, I swear.
Well, in that case, my arm is fine. Ah, that's better.
You're really okay? You're serious, Becky?
No, genius. I'm not serious.
Ow! My arm, it hurts.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
You must be your fairy godmother?
In the classic fairy tale, Cinderella's dream comes true because the glass slipper fits.
It fits.
In our world, the right fit can be just as important.
Good heavens, child. You can't go in there.
Especially when it comes to car seats. Always choose a car seat that's the right fit for your child's age and size.
Oh, that does make a difference.
To make sure your little pumpkin gets there safely every time.
Hop in, dear. Thank you.
Remember, you're responsible for protecting your children. Their happily ever afters are in your hands. For even more information about choosing the right car seat, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. This message has been brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Go, Caleb! Come on, hit a homer, Jesse.
Let's go, guys!
Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Wow, jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's true. I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, so obvious.
Oh, hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Nick the Web Chick from Q102, and you're listening to WHIP.
Welcome back, iHeartRadio listeners. You're listening to Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP. This is Rational Radio. You're here with Ryan Frischella and myself, Noah Clay, giving you all the local, national, world news.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Nate had to leave us.
Nate had to take Duck out.
Yeah, so we'll just continue this discussion without him.
Has something a little bit more important than us, I guess.
I guess so. Man, what a good member of the Tuesday crew. Honestly. But yeah, so how about this story, right? This came out, this was in the news yesterday evening is when I saw it, and I saw this on Twitter. And this is I saw this video, and it was a cop in a classroom, and so I was like, what is this? The video was a minute and a half long, so I decided to check it out. And turns out it is a video of what appears to be a huge misuse of power on the part of the police officer. Basically, in the video, this police officer walks into a classroom at Spring Valley High School in South Carolina, and he seems to go up to this girl and tries to get her out of her desk and tries to get her to stand up and go with him for whatever reason we don't know. And he's quoted, this is an article on the Washington Post website, and in the article it quotes the officer as saying, "Are you going to come with me, or am I going to make you? Come on, I'm going to get you up." So the video proceeds to show the cop who basically throws the girl out of her desk and throws her onto the ground and whatever, puts her hands behind her back and is in there for whatever purpose he was in there for. They haven't said and why this officer was in there, but the video is violent. Right. I mean, it is. This girl looks young.
Right. So obviously we don't know all the details. We don't know why he was there, why he was taking her out, but we do know that this is a big cop. And this is a very small, when I first saw the video, I actually just saw the video for the first time 5 minutes ago. I thought it was a middle schooler. She's a very, she's not like a huge human being. It's a tiny girl. And he picks her up out of the chair and throws her. So it's incredibly violent. And obviously we don't know all the details, but I feel like something went wrong. Something definitely was not supposed to happen there.
I do not think that he went into this classroom planning to literally, he literally threw this girl out of her chair. I mean, I watched this and I was like, oh my gosh, what just happened here?
What is going on?
And I mean, this is probably one of the first times when we've seen this incident happen in a school, right? We see sometimes this happens on the news, and there are different police brutality claims that are made on the news, but we haven't really seen it in a different setting other than that. And this is kind of the first time, and it's kind of frightening. Yeah. He didn't even seem like he held back.
No, he looked like he handled the situation like he was going after a guy that was much bigger than him, not a young high school girl. She was. It just blows. I keep saying this, but she was so little. She was so small, compared to this huge, buff police officer. So, and it raises the question: how often does this happen? How often does this happen where someone doesn't get it on camera, or it gets covered up,
right,
or it doesn't quite make the news because something more important happened that day?
Yeah.
How often is this going on?
Yeah, no, it definitely raises that question, and it's just very scary to look at, because this could be anybody. I mean, you don't ever know. I mean, when someone's going to walk in, or a cop's going to walk in. I mean, whether he wants to question you about anything or what. First of all, I want to know what he was seeking her for. If it was something like. Trivial,
she mouthed off to a teacher or something,
or she skipped school one day and it was trying to enforce truancy laws or something like that. Still no excuse for anything that happened here, but I want to know the reasoning why he was there in the first place. Right. Because the one video I saw, it was literally him walking in the door and then just went right over to this girl.
Right.
And so this comes at a time when when the chief of the FBI, James Comey, is saying that there has been an effect on law enforcement following Ferguson. He's saying that in this article written on the Washington Post, he's saying that basically following Ferguson, there has been a trend of behavior by the police that has made them quote unquote gun shy, right? Because they're scared about potential police brutality claims that are that could come against them. And here we see this video. I mean, this guy didn't even use a gun.
Right. I mean, obviously, it's very easy for me to say this sitting here without being a police officer and without seeing the things that they've seen. But I feel like if you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't be worried. If you know full well that what you're doing follows code, it's reasonable for you to use your weapon, then by all means do it. But I think if you know you're in the right, there should be no reason for you to be worried about being punished or for you to be worried about anything like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, this, but I think that he has a point, though. I think people have been hesitant in the law enforcement community to use force.
Yeah.
Because they don't want that. I mean, because they know it's such a big issue right now, that those claims could possibly be made against them. And I don't know. I mean, it's this article goes on to say that we're living in the quote unquote age of viral videos, and that has influenced policing. And I mean, how do you control that?
I mean, it's very true. We do live in the world of viral videos. The second one single cop does anything wrong, all of a sudden it's all over online. I remember watching a video maybe last year. There's the family that's sitting in the car and they won't get out because they have kids in the back seat, and the cop takes his baton and shatters the window, and someone took a video of that.
Right.
It was viral by the end of the day. It made national news by the end of the week. So it's so easy for just one misguided or law officer whose emotions get the best of him and reacts poorly. It just takes one of them to do the wrong thing, and it's everywhere. It's out so fast. People in their own communities don't trust the cops that they've known for their lives.
Yeah.
It must be a very rough time to be a police officer.
Yeah, so this article goes on to say that in response to these comments, that there are some groups that he angered, including Amnesty International. Their USA executive director, Steve Hawkins, was quoted in this article as calling James Comey's comments outrageous and unsubstantiated. And then it also says that policing groups were also angered by feeling that he assumed that their officers had been, neglected their duties or didn't perform their duties to the fullest. And the executive director for the National Fraternal Order of Police said time and time again, referring to James Comey, generalizes about a segment of the population that he knows nothing about.
Well, that's
he don't know. He's in charge of the FBI. He doesn't know anything about police.
I mean, it's harsh words on something that I feel like it is an issue, and I feel like the FBI would know quite a bit about.
This dude goes on to say Comey is, quote, like the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. He wanders around pretending to be smart, and then at the end they give him a diploma and he thinks he's a genius. They swear him in as the director of the FBI, and all of a sudden he's an expert on what police officers are thinking. That is a quote from James Pascoe Jr., the executive director of the National Fraternal Order of Police.
I'm going to be very surprised if this the guy who you just mentioned, the author of this, doesn't catch any flack for that, because that's very harsh words, very aggressive. But I think on one hand, the FBI is different from the police force, and the FBI does deal with different situations than the police force does. But at the same time, this guy has been through a lot of law classes. He knows a lot more, obviously, than I do, but a lot more than most people do on the subject of proper policing and criminal justice.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that
Scarecrow and Wizard of Oz? Come on.
I feel like that
looking at this guy's resume, he was the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, one of the busiest judicial districts in the U.S. in the federal circuit, right? Because the Southern District of New York is all department where it has lots of very populous counties, which include Manhattan, Bronx, Westchester County, and other counties there in New York. He was also the Deputy U.S. Attorney General. All right, so now we're talking. Now he's big time, right? He's in D.C. Deputy U.S. Attorney General. Now he's the director of the FBI.
So he definitely knows what he's talking about.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like
he went to William and Mary, and he graduated from University of Chicago Law School. That according to his bio on Wikipedia.
Definitely not a scarecrow.
No.
Definitely not just a figurehead.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think his comments are, not valid. I mean, I think he knows what he's talking. He's been in law enforcement a long time. And for them to kind of just write off his comments as being, he doesn't know what he's talking about, I don't think that's fair.
I agree.
So, something that has been in the news a lot, and I'm sure will continue to be in the news, but I don't think we should discount what James Comey was saying, because I do think he has a point. I do think that there has been a trend in law enforcement to kind of be a little bit more reserved. So that's all we have for today on Rational Radio, but make sure to join us tomorrow and the rest of the week from 3 to 4 right here on WHIP Radio, Philly's #1 college radio station. Have a great day, everybody.